Welcome to Philosophy in Pajamas podcasts. Today we are taking on a topic that has been misunderstood probably since humans first started writing poetry. Love.
Right.
We often think of love as this high-gloss, grand gesture version, the noise that gets amplified everywhere, especially on social media.
hmm
But the material we are exploring today challenges us to look far beyond that surface-level definition.
Yeah, our mission today is pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
We really want to shift your perspective entirely.
Okay.
We're
Yeah.
trying to move past this idea of love as, a fleeting checklist of performance metrics. We aim to understand it as the spine, that quiet, load-bearing framework that holds your whole existence together.
Especially when the pretty parts are gone.
Exactly. Especially when the charming, decorative parts of your life have crumbled and left the room.
Okay, so let's unpack that idea of the checklist because it's so deeply embedded in our culture, isn't it?
It really is.
For so many people, love is a curated calendar of outings and sweet timings.
Yeah, brunches and weekend getaways.
Right. It's treated like a transaction you manage. You check off the romantic obligations and, you feel like you've succeeded.
And that's precisely why so many people feel dissatisfied. I mean, they're measuring the success of a building by its paint color.
That's a great way to put it.
As Rashik observed, if you define love by the charming parts, you completely miss its fundamental purpose.
So what is its purpose then?
Well, real love is a far tougher creature. It's defined entirely by what stays back after all the charming parts leave the room.
What stays back?
Yeah, it's not about the temporary high. It's about the permanent anchor.
That distinction changes everything. Because if love isn't about enjoyment, but about endurance, that requires us to face things that aren't pretty.
It does.
But if we define it that way, does it mean relationships are supposed to be just a continuous struggle? Where does the lightness fit in?
That's a fair challenge, but endurance doesn't mean constant struggle. It means reliable structure. The struggle might be external, but the love is the internal consistency that handles it. And this tough definition matters because it requires this profound mutual vulnerability.
You need to know that the structure is reliable before the storm hits.
Exactly.
And here's where the true test of that structure begins. When someone witnesses your absolute worst hour. And we're not talking about a predictable, camera-ready stress moment. We're talking about the raw person.
The one who wakes up with sinking breath in the middle of the night.
Yes, or who spirals into old fears that you thought you'd buried forever, that complete unedited vulnerability.
It's the moment the facade just cracks, and the other person sees what you work so hard to hide.
And the question is, what do they do?
The profound question is, do they flinch? Do they rush to fix it, or worse, judge it?
Right.
The moment someone sees that raw, unpolished person, sees your internal chaos, and doesn't recoil, that is the pivotal discovery.
And the analogy for this is it's just one of the most powerful insights we reviewed.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's like handing them the keys to a cluttered attic.
Yeah.
You're exposing all your junk only to discover they brought a lamp instead of judgment.
A lamp instead of judgment. I mean, just think about what that practically means, because this is where the abstract gets really actionable.
How so?
Well, judgment telling you what you should be doing, that's easy. That's cheap.
Right.
But bringing a lamp, that means they don't criticize the dust. They just illuminate the space so you can see where the next step is.
They're not trying to fix it for you?
No. They remove the pressure of the performance, they allow the mess to exist, and that acceptance becomes this powerful form of grace.
That is a powerful distinction. So we've seen how acceptance handles the internal chaos, but how does this quiet acceptance translate into tangible, reliable action?
That's where the idea of silent action comes in.
Okay.
We're so good at endless chatter.
Yeah.
But Rushik highlights that the real magic, the core of this tougher connection, happens when someone can hear you without words.
Hear you without words.
Yeah, it moves beyond explicit communication and into this deep nonverbal understanding.
That is so vital. I think of how easily we fill silence with noise and the contrast with someone who just sits beside you when your internal storm is brewing, and they manage to catch it the way the sky catches a kite that lost control.
I love that image.
Hmm.
They don't try to wrestle the kite back down. They just offer the gravity and space for the storm to run its course safely.
And their care is never a performance. It's just there, unannounced.
That's the language of silent action.
Hmm.
It's these quiet acts of care that are not grand, but absolutely necessary. They feel like patches on a worn-out sail.
They reinforce what's failing without demanding attention.
Exactly. without a big show.
So give us some examples of these patches, because I think we often dismiss these small kindnesses as just nice rather than foundational.
Oh, they are the foundation. I mean, imagine having zero strength left, you've been running on fumes for weeks, and a home-cooked thing just appears.
You didn't even have to ask.
Didn't have to ask. Or when your own voice feels too heavy to talk about the problem, and a warm shoulder is just offered. Not a solution, just a weight to lean on.
And what about that quiet, calm sentence that somehow rearranges all your scrambled thoughts?
Yes, snapping you out of a spiral. It's the difference between chaos and clarity, delivered with no fanfare at all.
Precisely. These are not small things.
Not at all. They're the entirety of the foundation. They don't shout, they mark you gently, and they teach you about a depth of connection you never even knew you needed.
It's an education.
It's an education in fidelity that only happens through consistent low-key support.
And that education brings us directly to loyalty and integrity. Because when you're broken, it's so easy to feel repulsive, like your flaws are too heavy for someone else to carry.
And this is where love becomes someone who collects your chaos without mocking it.
Seeing your tired courage.
Exactly. Seeing your tired courage and choosing to stand firm. I mean, it's easy to adore the victorious version of someone who has their life together.
Of course.
It takes a far braver heart to stand next to the one who is currently breaking. Real love does not panic when the lights go out inside you.
What does it do?
It simply lights a match from its own pocket.
Wow. The refusal to abandon you, even when you feel most unlovable. That's described as being close to divinity. It's the ultimate quiet commitment.
It is. We talk about grand declarations, but the material insists that the slightest kindness often carries the most significant weight.
Like what?
Like someone remembering your impossibly busy schedule, or respecting your workspace without being asked, or letting you be your unfinished self.
Without imposing a deadline for completion.
Right.
That specific minor discipline builds such a powerful sense of unseen protection. It feels like leaning your back on a door that will not open for trouble.
That's it. You realize you are guarded not just by their presence, but by their principled actions.
And that protection is built on true faithfulness, which, as we're learning, isn't some dramatic public display.
No, it's the quiet integrity. It's a sincerity that can't be faked, because true choosing, as Rushik points out, it happens in your absence too.
How they manage your reputation or respect your boundaries when you aren't there to enforce them.
Yes. And trust, fundamentally, never grows in luxury. It only goes in consistency.
It's built brick by tiny brick.
Tiny, everyday actions that stack up. Returning a borrowed item, being on time, following through on some trivial chore.
And these micro actions accumulate until one day you realize a shelter is standing there, sturdy and whole, all because of their reliable fidelity.
That's the inversion of expectations, isn't it? We look for the explosion of effort.
But we should be looking for the steady, minute adherence to principle. But let's circle back to what we talked about earlier. If love is all about handling the worst, is there any room for genuine joy?
Absolutely. In fact, this toughness creates the safety for genuine joy.
Okay, explain that.
The full spectrum of care involves holding your laughter as carefully as your sorrow. The goal isn't just to survive, it's to create conditions where relief can exist.
So taking active steps to shift the emotional climate when it's heavy.
Exactly. It's that intentional step of pulling a smile out of you when your mood has become, a locked cupboard.
They know exactly how to crack a perfectly timed joke.
Or mimic a silly expression you hate but secretly love. Or say something completely ridiculous.
Purely to shift your sky by one shade.
That's it. They're actively managing the emotional atmosphere, creating these small pockets of relief that feel like warm sand under cold feet on a cold day.
They remind you that the temporary heaviness is not your permanent state.
And then there's the element that Rushik highlights as essential but often overlooked, the unseen support.
Some might call it the spiritual dimension.
You could. It's the concept of deep advocacy, someone who prays for you or just whispers your name into the unseen, not to control your journey.
But to protect your steps.
Exactly. Even if you aren't a spiritual person, the idea is that someone is consistently holding your well-being in their thoughts, carrying some of that load for you, unseen.
You may never know those silent advocacies are happening.
But the effect echoes around you, like a safety net woven from unseen threads. It's the ultimate form of long-term investment in your existence.
So if we come back to this final redefinition, love is not a film.
Not at all. It rarely looks like music cues and picturesque moments.
Real love looks like Showing up on a tough Monday.
Or folding a blanket simply because they noticed you'd forgotten and they want you to be comfortable.
It's the steady rhythm behind your often scattered heartbeat, the soft reminder that the world hasn't given up on you, that you are anchored.
Love is the spine.
The spine.
The load-bearing, enduring structure that holds you upright when everything else bends. When your own fears are narrating your story, it's the quiet architecture of your life.
And the quiet victory of knowing someone still chooses you in that quiet, structural way, even on your messiest day, that makes life feel kinder.
It brings that tiny, involuntary smile. That smile is the ultimate barometer of true love's quiet, enduring success.
So we need to ask ourselves a question based on this reframing, and this is the provocative thought we want to leave you with. How often do you mistake the noise of romance, the fleeting gestures, the public performance, for the spine of actual enduring support in your own life?
And how can you start cultivating this rare, silent fidelity in the relationships that matter most to you, focusing less on the checklist and more on the commitment?
We hope this conversation provided you with a powerful new perspective. We encourage you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow Rushik for more profound thoughts at medium.com/Rushik Haral.